Connor Vanover gets a start at the 5 for Missouri tonight. It's the first time this starting 5 has been on the floor together for the Tigers. 8-8 overall, 0-3 in conference play, coming off of a 2-point loss in overtime at home to South Carolina. Here's Aaron Estrada trying to work on East. Sears is not only the leading scorer in the league, he's one of the most efficient scorers in college basketball. His turnaround is off the mark, and the Tigers come out with it. Missouri got out rebounded by South Carolina, but they also dug themselves a big hole. Trailed 7-0 early on. Tamar Bates has been playing well for the Tigers, 56% from 3 over his last set. Might be one of the few times tonight we see a shot clock get this late. It's under 5. East with the hesitation. Bates now with 1. And a tough shot to finish the possession for Mizzou.
Yeah, and great patience there. And Bates loves that pull-up jumper. Super effective. This is a guy, 2 in black, right there at 50, 40, 90. 50% from 2, or field goal, 40% from 3, and then the free throw line as well.
And this guy can shoot a little bit. Grant Nelson, preseason first-team all-conference transfer from North Dakota State, hits his first. No surprise, because Alabama is the 4th best scoring team in college basketball, better than 90 points a game. And now Sean East with a bucket.
Well, and that's what Sean East can do. Just get the ball in his hands. He can make tough twos.
Estrada with the pass and the finish. And they're going to call that an N1 opportunity for Alabama.
What concentration by Pringle. I mean, this is a pick and roll here where the rotation's right there, and to be able to catch that in the air with the defender right under you and put it in soft off the glass, well done by Pringle. He's a guy with a lot of upside. They've got to get more out of him. In order to do that, they got to have him on the court more. He's been very foul prone, picked up 2 early ones in that last game at Mississippi State. And there he psychs everybody out for free throw violation. And Nate Oates just turns his head and says, don't look at me. I've not seen that one in a long time.
Nate's in his 5th season as Alabama's head man. He's got 103 wins under his belt. One of the best teams in college basketball last year. Total rebuild after they lost 2 first-rounders to the draft and others. Here's East, got a half step on his defender, Rylan Griffin. Mizzou's got to get Nick Honor going. Last 5, just 19% from 3. They're going to use a lot of clock again. Got to slow Bama's tempo. East, tough fadeaway.
And the analytics tell you force teams to take mid-range tough twos. And here's Missouri. They've made 3 of those right now by their backcourt.
Yeah, shoot around last night, Dennis Gates was telling us, look, analytically, we run the same system. We employ the same people. We work from the same binder. Those are 3 very un-Alabama type shots Missouri's taken early.
Yep, but to have the flexibility to know, you know what, we got some good mid-range guys. If the stats show they can make them, let them take them.
Here's Bates, open floor, working over Nelson, and got it. What a start for Mizzou.
You got to love this start if you're Dennis Gates, because this is an Alabama team that can absolutely explode offensively, so your offense must be in rhythm if you're going to keep up with the Tide.
Tigers have hit their first 4. Alabama 2 for 4. And just like that, shooting their way into a tie game. That's Estrada, who's at 39% from deep. Carter with a post touch, and Missouri remains perfect here early.
And Carter's going to need to be that physical, because Alabama's going to switch 1 through 4. That means they might have smaller defenders on 35 and black.
A little off balance on the 3. Connor Vanover, tallest player in college basketball, 7'5" with the rebound. East is a lefty. He's got a mismatch here with the 6'11" Nelson on.
Again, they're okay with that. Nelson showing great versatility on the defensive end. They don't win that road game, Mississippi State, without him on Tolu Smith.
Yeah, what a difference going from guarding Tolu Smith to Sean East. Again, Mizzou using as much clock as possible, and East lost it on his way up. No numbers for Bama. Nelson was a little late. Vanover with the steal. Tallest player in Missouri history over Gary Leonard and the great Tom Dorr. What a start for this Missouri team. 5 for 6 from the floor in a season in college basketball that has lived by the upset. Missouri trying to repeat one here on the road. No margin for error in the SEC this year.
And they can't just figure it out once they get healthy. And I'm referring to guys like Caleb Grill, who should be back soon, you would hope, if you're a Missouri fan, with that wrist injury. But they got to get on a win streak now, get healthier and better as the season goes on. And as you look back to last season, it was pretty magical. I mean, they were 8-0 last year in games decided by 5 points or less. When it got closer, got to the buzzer, Missouri was coming out on top. This year hadn't been as smooth.
Sam Walters from the corner. And Estrada on the offensive glass for Alabama. Walters will tee it up again. First one went out of bounds. Second one, 300 right down the fairway.
Early in the season, Nate Oates said, I got a lot of guys that are passing up too many shots. Walters is not one of them. And you see it right there. He knows what his role is.
He is an elite shooter, 49% from deep. Vanover at 7'5". Turned a little baby hook with the left. Bama with the lead, looking to add to it. Corner three again. And Missouri had the rebound. It'll be a foul on Bama. Latrell Wrightsell Jr. on Jesus Carolero Martin. Nate Oates in this Alabama team, one of 3 teams in the SEC that are in the top 10 in the country in scoring. Bama's scoring 90.1 a game. Kentucky is up there in the top 5, and Florida has been in the top 10. Of the Gators having a tough time on an early start at Rocky Top tonight.
Dalton Connect, co-SEC Player of the Week with Mark Sears. 37 points last time I checked. Whoa, that kid is on fire.
Good job to blow up the screen by Walters, freshman from the Villages, Florida. Estrada looking for the assist. Wrightsell for 3.
Latrell Wrightsell has really come along. His confidence from deep is soaring right now. And if they can get that type of defense to complement their offense, this is an Alabama team that could go on a deep run in March.
Wrightsell had 19 on 5 of 9 from 3 against Mississippi State Saturday. Bama 3-0 for the 3rd time in SEC play under Nate Oates. And right now tied on a 6-0 run. The rebound fought for, and Trent Pierce going to be charged with the foul.
Well, this is some of that complimentary basketball here by Alabama. They're able to get that loose ball off some miscommunication on the handoff. And then Estrada drive, draw, dish. That's Alabama basketball.
Bama's 7th in the country in effective field goal percentage. That gives extra weight for the 3-pointers they make, and boy, do they make and take a lot of them, obviously, under Nate Oates, one time a high school statistics teacher, and the fastest in program history to 100 wins. Good cut. He was wide open, and a great challenge by Martin.
That was great job by Martin, because that looked like I had 2 points all over. A terrific play call.
East with the skip pass. And Kurt Lewis getting some early run from Mizzou. Couldn't do anything with it. 4-point Alabama lead. Coming up next, we'll get you to Fayetteville. A&M in Arkansas in a feels like a must-win game for Eric Musselman and the Razorbacks. They struggled at home last time, and they struggled on the road last time out. Got beat by 22 at Florida on Saturday.
There's been some seasons where they've been late bloomers, have the Razorbacks, and they figure it out and go on a big-time run. But right now, that window is closing. You're right. Huge opportunity that they must capitalize on.
A&M coming off of an overtime win against Kentucky Saturday. That was a thriller. Their backcourt was fantastic. Mizzou started this game 5 for 5. Tigers have missed their last 3, and they've turned it over 3 times since that hot start. East trying to lead Martin, and it Karams stays with Mizzou. Here's Pierce for 3. A little physical in there. Jesus Carolero Martin picks up the first, senior from Malaga, Spain.
I think the half-court defense by Alabama has been pretty good. The shots that Missouri has made have been contested. And that's the area that Nate Oates says we just got to get better at. We got to be able to guard the ball better, get rotations less, rebound the basketball. which is crazy because they're the #1 offense in the country according to KenPom. And so if their defense can start getting more stops, just think how much more dangerous they'll be in transition.
Martin lost his balance after the steal. Honor has really been ice cold from deep. Mizzou needs Honor, that veteran guard, to figure it out offensively. Yabate with his swing to the right side. There's no analytic for this or measurement, but I think if you put Nate Oates' team up against anybody else in the country, they have the longest passes by distance that end in assists. They do a sensational job swinging it side to side.
Well, I think part of that is because teams have to load up and anticipate help because they have such good drivers. They're so good at getting to the rim that you have to be there, and that opens up some of those long skip passes. And the fact they're not scared to shoot it from 35 feet, that, you know, could be a long pass too.
In a 4+ minute scoring drought for Mizzou. East playing off the ball now with Honor running it for Missouri. Honor started his career at Fordham, then Clemson, and now a Tiger. Noah Carter has heated up recently. And here's Mark Sears, who's 0 for 2, and he pushes it ahead for Bama. Sears, the lefty, gives it up again. Guarded by Carter. They'll switch. Nope. Got caught in between, and Sears makes him pay for a deep 2.
It's got to be frustrating for Dennis Gates. They did such a good job in transition. The hardest thing to do is stop Alabama early. They did that, and then the miscommunication leaving Sears wide open.
Martin drills the 3, transfer from Campbell.
Martin's really given them some good minutes recently.
Dennis Gates going to take a timeout here. 16-13, Alabama with the lead. Tigers trying to refine their stroke after a hot start.
A few of those close games, they knew they had to get better. That's why you go out there and work in the non-conference. You'd like to get one of those wins for your resume, of course. But another reason why their net ranking is so high is because of that strength of schedule. So this Alabama team is right in the mix for a 2-3 seed type position in the NCAA tournament.
Lost by 6 to Purdue, lost by 3 on the road at Creighton. Tough place to play. Here's a swing to Wrightsville. It was a homecoming game for Wrightsville, who played at Omaha Central. He got the start that day against the Blue Jays. Sears splits the defenders, and Alabama keeps it alive. Shot clock's at 2. Griffin, tough shot.
Another really good Missouri defense. And that time, Alabama just too good. Rylan Griffin really been an X factor for this Alabama team, and his ability to play the 3 or the 4 and make shots like that.
Here, Leroy Martin getting a little bit of extra run tonight for this Missouri team, which announced today they'd be without John Tanji for the rest of the season. He's going to take a medical red shirt. Has been battling a foot injury, and today was really the tipping point for that. You have to be in less than 30% of your team's games in the first half of the season, so this was the cutoff date. It's unfortunate that they're not going to get the services of Tanji, who was a great player and an elite Colorado State team last year.
Yeah, you combine that with the lack of availability of Caleb Grill, and you can see why this Missouri team, their margin for error has been so slim.
Martin has to hoist a 3 at the shot clock buzzer. Missouri seemed a little bit unaware. Tanji 2.5 points per game, but 4 years at Colorado State, he was 11th in the Mountain West in points per game. By the way, the Mountain's probably going to end up with 5 teams in the dance this year.
Yeah, he was averaging 15 a game last year, so ignore that 2 points. They expect him to be a scorer.
Sears again got through 2 black shirts, but let the ball loose, and then they're going to get East. Oh, get Wrightsville for the foul, pardon me. It's a second on Latrell Wrightsville Jr.
And one of the things that's really frustrating Nate Oates right now is some of these unforced errors, just the sloppiness with the ball. And as fast as Sears is, he's tried a few times to knife the defense, and it can be a high-risk, low-reward situation, especially early in the clock there. 4 turnovers so far in 9 minutes of action.
Anthony Robinson Jr., or Robinson II, I should say, is on the floor now for Missouri. Dennis Gates happy to have him back, wanting to get him back into full swing. Missed the Kentucky game a little bit of time when his grandmother was in hospice back in Florida. Here's Sears. High off the window, but it just won't go for Bama. Push ahead to Martin. And he finishes.
Doesn't get to the free throw line on that, but that's what Missouri has to do when they get in the paint. Be a little bit more physical, initiate the contact. Really good drive by Martin.
Sears trapped in the corner. And a cylinder violation and a foul on Missouri will be charged to Carter.
Well, when you miss one layup on one end of the court, it oftentimes leads to a fast break opportunity on the other end. And you see the terrific anticipation by Sears. Really tough, high finish there. Doesn't go his way, and East with the terrific advanced pass. And that's the physicality you want to see right there if you're Dennis Gates.
Nate Oates wants his team to play with a sense of urgency, especially on the offensive end. The SEC through first 2 weeks of conference play plays at the second highest tempo of any conference in the country. Estrada has 5 here early on.
Estrada with perfect timing there. He came from the top of the key, skied above everybody, got himself an easy bunny.
Carolero Martin had the size advantage, but had to roll off. Sears so far 1 for 4 with a couple of assists. He's got a great field day as a scorer. Now they trap him, and he's able to get out of there. Extra pass for Bama. And Pringle gets challenged. I feel like Sears has a great feel as a guy who can pour in 20 points a game. For the ability still to be considerate enough to get his teammates involved in the offense when needed.
Well, and I think he also knows they can survive without him scoring. As good of a scorer as he is, it's not like they lose leads or can't stay in games if he's on the bench. You look at the Mississippi State game. He had 2 early fouls. The offense was able to manage without him. They're certainly better with him on the court, but that sort of balance allows him to have that trust in his teammates.
Every Thursday here on the SEC Network, it's a women's basketball doubleheader. This week, we're highlighting Alabama playing host to 10th-ranked LSU, coming off of an upset loss. Game starts at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. You see the dunk in the South Carolina game?
I did.
Can we talk about getting back on defense? Because the point guard turned it over and just stood and watched.
Well, you got to see if it's going to happen.
I guess so. Only the 9th time in women's basketball history. East had a man open, didn't get it to him. Carter, size advantage on Sears, and he rolls right into Pringle. They nearly walked with it. Now Aiden Shaw is off the mark. He's too strong. Missouri made its first 5 shots. Just 2 for 9 since. Sears with a burst. Physical play, and Pringle with the layup.
Well, Sears, as you described that burst, he's got an extra gear, and he draws 2 defenders, gets them in the air, and the IQ and the court awareness to drop that off to his big man.
Jacques getting a touch here early for Mizzou. Wants to get rid of it. Can't get it to anybody. East now with 2. And Missouri with the offensive rebound, and then a foul. Whoa, a little bit extra. I think, and now Nate Oates pushing Shaw back. Nate Oates, his blood boils at times. Dennis Gates is as cool as a cucumber. Contrasting styles from the 2 head coaches. (24-15), Bama with the lead. Tonight, Alabama has risen to Nate Oates' challenge, and well, Nate Oates getting physical himself. This was right before we went to break at the end of that previous play as Alabama was starting to get into its team huddle. Aiden Shaw was trying to talk trash, and Nate Oates said, no, get out of here. He was still involved with Estrada. Shaw was at the time. Noah Carter was in the middle of it. And Oates is 20 feet on the floor. How do you view that as a former player?
I view that as let the officials put their hands on the players and separate them, as opposed to an opposing coach touching the opposing player. Because you never know how an opposing player could react. Because some guys, I credit, who was it, Aiden Shaw?
Yeah.
Shaw could have swiped his hand down and gotten right into Nate Oates' face. That could have gotten a lot uglier. Now, it's not like Nate Oates was super aggressive, super physical, but anytime there's contact there, heat of the moment, it could be a recipe for disaster on that.
Alyssa, what did you see in here in the Alabama huddle?
Well, Nate Oates was really fired up, as was he in the last Alabama timeout, guys, just a few minutes ago, getting on his team, you guessed it, for their defensive intensity. This past huddle, really congratulating his team on holding this Missouri offense to 5 points over the last 8 minutes, looking up at them and yelling, "That's how you guard." Really happy with his team's defensive performance right now.
All right, Alyssa, thanks. Sorry, we're talking with the officials over here. They went back and reviewed it. And what added to some of that commotion is that a sub had just entered the game, and so there's an extra guy on the floor.
Yeah.
I don't think that the officials are going to adjudicate that type of scenario unless it was extreme.
Well, and Nate Oates takes it personal like his players. You recall after the South Carolina game how he mentioned in the post-game press conference how some of the South Carolina players were jawing at the bench, and he was quick to point out in the post-game pressure, like, hey, they said the SEC wasn't ready for him. And guess what? We were ready for him. So Nate Oates can take on the role of a little bit of trash talking for his players at times.
Meanwhile, Missouri has had to withstand a 6-0 Alabama run. The Tigers is 2 for their last 11. East finds Carter. Carter misses that one from the paint. They stay with Alabama now. Joe Lindsey says he saw something else. I think they're going to reverse this one.
Well, if Missouri's going to score in the half court, it can't just be all threes. It's got to be, Noah Carter tips it out there. Carter's really their post-up option. That's where Kobe Brown was so good last year for them, as they try to replace not only him, but DeMoy Hodge, who gave him so much offense off his defense with those pick-six type plays. That's been another thing that's really hindered Missouri's offense, is just not getting enough of those live ball turnovers, converting to easy buckets.
Dennis Gates shuffling it up on the defensive end. Tigers just 2 for their last 12 from the floor. Scoring drought of nearly 2.5 minutes. Honor step back 3 over Nelson. Drilled it over the 6'11" forward.
He is a big-time shot maker. 39% from 3 on the year, and they need more out of him. And they're asking him to do more than maybe he's ever had to do, certainly in his Missouri career. But if they're going to right their ship this season, he's got to.
Big 3 from Rylan Griffin. And Bama with the answer. Speaking of Otter, he had 3 points in their matchup with Bama last year. Just 1 for 10 shooting, 1 for 6 from 3. And he was -14 in the plus-minus. The series that dates in 1977. Missouri has only won in Tuscaloosa once. 1-8 all time in this building, and East steps on the sideline.
And you see Alabama's ball pressure there. Sears did a terrific job on Honor. Honor never got comfortable with any ball screen action. And then they can switch. All of a sudden, you got Grant Nelson, who's not only guarding All-SEC center Tolu Smith last game, but now he's switching on what will be an All-SEC player in Sean East at the point guard spot. That's the versatility that Alabama has with Grant Nelson.
Missouri's turned it over 6 times here in the first 15 minutes tonight. Sears the lob. Whoa! Pringle just a hair behind him, otherwise would have brought the house down. It's not a sellout crowd tonight, with incredible weather moving through the South, as you might be aware, but they have invited everybody to come down and sit as close as they wanted to the floor, including the students who made their way to some closer seats. I was surprised that you, Dane, were sitting so close, but I guess you got invited. Here's Pringle. Finish that lob jam.
Yeah, Pringle's a quick learner. Instead of going up with one hand, go up with 2 and finish strong.
Bama switching. Carter rolls right into a double again and somehow finesses it in.
Yeah, he wanted to turn baseline, peeks over his shoulder, says, oh, help's coming that way. Let me get out of trouble. Nice pivot work.
Inside to Pringle again.
Yeah, right back at him.
Now you mentioned their guy, he's a guy they wanted to get going. He was a 3-point scorer last year. 5 points a game this year. And now already with 10 of Bama's 31 for Nick Pringle. Sears came up a little gimpy after that last turnover. I think it's an ankle injury, but Sears walking very gingerly out in the front court. Whew, wow. A dipsy-do for Estrada.
Well, why that's important is not just the pretty finish, but he's not settling and pulling up for that 8-10-foot type shot, something he's had to get out of his system. But for Alabama, their offense, man, they can hurt you in so many ways. The three-point shot at the rim or the lob dunks, and this time Nick Pringle, it doesn't get any easier than that. 23 finishing up top. Alluded to from Missouri. They've only forced four turnovers. Alabama has started taking care of the ball much better. 0 points off turnovers for Missouri. That's just not Dennis Gates basketball. They've got to get more offense from their defense.
Carlero Martin kind of in and out of the lineup throughout non-conference play. Gets a touch in the corner and lets it fly. Got it. He was a great offensive weapon early in the season, but in the Jackson State loss at home, he really got exposed defensively, and Dennis Gates started looking for more players. Gates is always going to have a deep rotation. He'll go 13 deep if need be.
He's been playing real. I mean, he fouled out last game, but 4 assists, no turnovers, 4 blocks, and 6 points. Smart player.
Ball fake, turn around, tough two. Estrada on the glass. Estrada again. And the loose ball taken out of there, but a whistle, and we got a kick. It'll be Missouri basketball. Gymnastics triple header coming your way Friday night right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. All ranked matchups. Florida, Auburn to start, Arkansas and Alabama in the middle, and Kentucky at LSU to close it out at 9 Eastern from the PMAC.
Really
6-time national champions here with Alabama gymnastics over the years, dating back to the late 80s.
Didn't mean to interrupt your terrific knowledge.
It's a promotion day. Yeah. Like we're supposed to get people to watch and tell them about it.
I'm trying to promote the importance of the last 3 minutes of this game, or half. Missouri keep this thing in single digits.
Carlero Martin going down the floor multiple times. Wide open drive for Robinson. And the freshman with his first bucket of the night.
I really like this young player, Robinson. Great instincts. Can get his hands on a lot of balls. You see the way he can defend there. Got a little bit too greedy, but he's one of those guys, when you think back to last year with DeMoy Hodge and others that created some of those turnovers leading to easy baskets, 14 and black is a guy that's going to be doing that a lot for Missouri over the next 4 years.
Talking with Dennis Gates about Robinson last night. He had to go home to Tallahassee to be with his grandmother at one point. He was also fighting a viral infection. And so his point was, listen, we need him to get back up to speed and in a hurry. With an injury to Sean East in the Kentucky game, Missouri to open conference play was down to just 1 point guard.
And I think they've been asking Nick Honor to probably play a few too many minutes. As Estrada gets away with a push-off, man, shoved Robinson right down.
Yeah, Honor's playing 31 minutes a game, comes up with a steal here. As top 10 in the SEC. Second on the team behind East in minutes played. Honor probes, got nowhere to go. Carlero Martin has it stripped. And Estrada able to tie it up. It'll be Missouri basketball. But Carlero Martin, it looks like he's in a battle tonight.
And while Missouri wants to do a lot of the same things Alabama does offensively, the difference is they just don't have the speed and quickness and ball handling on the perimeter, nor as many three-point shooting threats. So rarely are you seeing Alabama have to get rotations, come help. At Missouri, when they get paint touches, it's a methodical back you down. They got to get a little bit more explosive, which is easier said than done.
Tigers have made 5 of their last 6 after working their way out of a 2-for-12 slump. Honor's got a 3 in that run. And Aiden Shaw push up inside. And send Alabama to the free throw line on the other side. It's been a swing back and forth from Missouri offensively. I mean, that foul was on Carolero Martin, his second. Started 5 for 5. And it was a very deliberate offensive attack, getting the shot clock down underneath 5 on many of those first handful of shots. Here's Sam Walters. He's earned a bonus from the Villages, Florida. Spent 1 year at Montverde Academy. Was able to take Villages Charter School to their first Final Four in school history. He's kind of the modern player, right? 6'4", or probably 6'10", under 200 pounds. Great shooter, can really stretch a defense.
Yeah, he's going to have a big-time career here at Alabama. Just has to have that defense catch up to his offense, and he's learning every single game.
Extra pass for Honor. Second 3 of the game for the senior.
Well, Missouri loves that long skip pass to the corner, and that's gotten Alabama in the rotation more so than the dribble penetration has.
Honor with the reach in. Take your pick who picked that one up. And they'll get Nick Honor for his first. So free throws coming for Alabama, and Jaron Stevenson. What a recruiting get this was for Nate Oates. Stevenson grew up just minutes away from the Dean Dome, Chapel Hill. Ended up switching schools and going to Seaforth High School, a little bit outside Chapel Hill, but he had been recruited heavily by Herbert Davis in that North Carolina program. Told him no to come to Alabama when he reclassified. Andrew Carter of the Raleigh News and Observer does a fantastic job writing about college basketball and really documented the recruiting trip that Stevenson went on with not only the fans that surrounded him, but his family. His mom played for the legendary Sylvia Hatchell at North Carolina, showed up a year after their national championship run in the mid-90s. And Dad was a fantastic player as a Richmond Spider and played overseas for a number of years.
When are you going to get to the shoe size?
I was going to leave that for you.
Size 19. How do you get a shoe for this guy?
Here's Robinson. And Nelson comes out of there with the rebound. And able to steal it was Bates, and he lost it across the sideline.
You got to love the pace of this game right now for Missouri. Even though it's not typical Dennis Gates basketball, for this season, for this roster, and this matchup, you want it to be ugly. The flow of the game has started to get away from Alabama a little bit. And if you can keep this game in the 70s, I think you have a much better shot at winning and stealing one on the road if you're Missouri.
It's a Bama team that really likes to push it when it comes to tempo. The third in the country in average possession length. Only 14 seconds per possession. In 3.5 minutes since Bama has made a bucket. Good hands by Honor, comes up with a strip. Second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. It's a game that Bama at one point led by 11. Honor gives it up. Bates with 4 on the shot clock. Over Griffin. Huge turnaround by Bates. Shot clock off for Alabama.
He makes tough shots look easy.
And the loose ball. Missouri trying to find it. There's 10 on the clock. Bates to Honor. Now a 5 on the clock. Nick Honor with the mid-range. And Missouri's made it a one-possession game with a flurry at the end of the half. and they've done it with great defense. Bama did not make a buck in their last 4 minutes and 15 seconds. Bama trying to stay undefeated. Head coach Nate Oates is with Alyssa Lang.
Your defense was getting some stops, but they brought it back to within a single-digit game. What's going to be your emphasis at halftime?
I mean, we got to take care of the ball. The turnovers are killing us. And we had a bad start and a bad close. We got to have better starts and finishes of the halves and the game's supposed to be.
Saw Sears come back out with his leg wrapped. Do you know his status?
You know what? He's back with our trainer. I'm not sure what. So I got to get back there and see what's going on with him.
Thank you, Coach.
So at this point, head athletic trainer Clark Holzer may be the most valuable player for this Alabama program, trying to get Sears, who only has 2 points, back on the floor for the second half. Time to get to the studio. Let's get it now to Pat, and Pete. What a trio. The free throw trips to the line have been an issue for Missouri throughout the course of the season, as you mentioned. Their opponents have made more than Missouri has attempted. Just putting eyes on Mark Sears moments ago, Dane, as he was right in front of us. It looks like he's still very ginger on that ankle. His injury occurred at about the 5-minute mark, and he left shortly thereafter.
Well, that's got to make him feel a little bit better, but you're right, he's hobbling just a little bit there. Still was able to get to his left hand.
Missouri back to its starting 5 with Connor Vanover at 7-5 on the floor. Here's Carter. Finds Vanover, point-blank range. Tough to miss at 7-5. That's his first bucket of the night.
They've got to get something better when the ball goes into Carter. They were able to right there.
Bama still over a point per possession in the first half, but a team that is scoring 90 a game held to one of its quietest halves of the season. Sears, good bounce pass to Nelson. Nelson couldn't get anybody fall for the pump fake back up top, and Nelson tracks it down. Able to throw it off Carter. Boy, Grant Nelson sure is an intriguing prospect. Preseason first-team All-SEC, transferring in from North Dakota State.
And when you look at him last year at North Dakota State, I think he's a pretty similar player. Obviously, he got more touches, more scoring at North Dakota State in the Summit League. Actually went up against Connor Vanover at Oral Roberts there in the Summit League Championship. But what he's brought to this team defensively and how he can spread them out at the 5 position, I think, is his biggest asset.
Estrada with a step through and on the drive. He's got 9 points in this one.
Estrada's really coming along. We talked about it in the first half, but his ability to get to the rim instead of settling with that long 2 has really changed his offense.
In 3 seconds, a violation in the Missouri turnover. Oh, pardon me, stepped on the inline. 8 turnovers for each team here early on. Bama's 5 of 6 from the free throw line. To Dennis's point, and what Alyssa reported, the fact that the Tigers haven't made it to the free throw line yet. Why do you think that is, and why do you think it's been a tough and low free throw rate for the Tigers this season?
Well, they do shoot some mid-range. I think also their inability to beat guys off the bounce as much as you would like to try to get some of those hip checks, because it's not just getting fouled at the rim, it's trying to get to a 1-and-1.
There you go. Bates draws a foul on Nelson.
But I mean, that's a big deal for this team. I mean, this is the difference between winning and losing. When you're getting 6 less free throws than the opponents on average in league play, you got to force the issue, attack, initiate that contact. And when you think about their big men, Noah Carter probably their best post-up option. At 7'5", Connor Vanover, more known as a pick-and-pop type guy and a rim protector on the defensive end. So that's not somewhere you're going to get to the free throw line either.
Well, they do make them when they get the chance. 76% from the free throw line. It's 3rd best in Missouri history. However, 310th in the country. Only 16 free throws attempted per game. Bates knocks them both down. It's a 1-possession game again. Missouri closed the first half on a 12-3 run to climb back in this contest.
They've allowed 3 paint touch drives. Sears gotten to where he wants to go twice, and Estrada a 3rd time.
Make it 4 now. Estrada with the layup and the end-one chance.
Yeah, they've just got to contain the dribble better, and then also those back cuts there. When you extend pressure the way Missouri can, it's dangerous against this talented Crimson Tide team. And a good job by Estrada with that pressure release. And Sears like a quarterback that's limping out of the huddle, makes a great pass to Estrada.
So Estrada at the free throw line. This dude's got a bunch of gear in his closet, doesn't he? Came from St. Peter's, originally the MAC Rookie of the Year, Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Oregon, a stopover at Hofstra for a couple of seasons where he was a 20-point scorer.
Rarely do you see a guy transfer up, back down, if you will, and then back up a second time. But that's exactly what Estrada has done. Second time around, he put more emphasis on fit, offensive style, and Nate Oates has been perfect for 55 and white.
He was the back-to-back CAA Player of the Year. First player to ever do that was the great David Robinson, and he was at Naval Academy. Here's Pringle with the touch. Robinson, three-time CAA Player of the Year. East will push. Here's Honor from the corner. Another big three for Nick Honor. Came in cold, but he's at 3 of them tonight.
You must find him in transition. Great job springing the court by Honor.
And a foul on the perimeter. Alyssa, this backcourt sure is interesting for Alabama.
You guys were talking about Sears and Estrada, and these guys have become extremely tight. Nate Oates was telling us today that they usually have them going against each other in practice. It's been great to watch them push each other and make each other better. Mark Sears told me they idolize each other's games. He said, I love his quickness and cutting, his speed and decision-making, but he wants him to be a little bit more selfish and take some more shots, something that Sears obviously has been the shot maker for this Alabama team so far this year.
Well, they combined for 33 points a game on the average. They're both 1,600-point scorer, and a three ball is good from Estrada. He's got 15 suddenly. Feels like a danger zone for Missouri. Carter with the spin. And another reverse, but this time it won't go. Estrada scored the last 8 for Bama.
Nate Oates frustrated there. Rylan Griffin had the defense on their heels. These are 3 or drive to the rim. He hates to see anybody slow the ball down. I mean, the best time to score on a defense is early. Nate Oates knows that. He emphasizes it. So he does not want anybody passing those opportunities up.
Bates, good rotation, and Missouri with the answer.
And Nate Oates is just absolutely furious. He's going to go to Latrell Wrightsell in because a missed opportunity on one end turns into a corner 3 for Missouri.
Estrada steps through and kicks. Pringle with a point-blank pass to Nelson, got tied up. And they're going to get Missouri's Jordan Butler with the foul. It's a changing of the guards here in Tuscaloosa and throughout college football. And the newest head man of the Tide was here moments ago. We'll give you a peek into Kalen DeBoer's world after this.
If you're already used to like number one, like
This is a fair question.
if you get your wife a car every anniversary, like what's going to be the big surprise? He's not wrong. The standard is high.
Is that what you do? Because I've been coming up short.
No.
If you're buying new cars,
You can see what my 4 kids did to my wife's car, you would realize we can't handle nice things. Not a goldfish, crushed up. There's like an entire ecosystem backseat.
Butler with the foul is his 3rd.
I like this zone out of bounds defense by Missouri. A lot of teams don't do that, but they're getting a lot of buckets on these man-to-man plays where they get confused on slips and challenged with the zone, can be boxing out, and that's a weakness for Missouri's defense.
Nelson had 9 boards in the win Saturday against Chris Jans' Mississippi State team. By the way, State will be in Lexington tomorrow night to take on Kentucky as Cal looks for his 400th career win. 400th win with the Cats. Carolero Martin with the skip. Good vision to find an open Butler. And then a follow from Robinson. And he'll earn a trip at the free throw line. Pick a player on the foul that time, and they're going to charge it to Grant Nelson.
I mean, Estrada was right there. It looks like he came to crash and just lost his footing. And next thing you know, Robinson's sitting there 3 feet from the basket.
Every Thursday right here on the SEC Network, we got a women's basketball doubleheader. This week we're highlighting Alabama against 10th ranked LSU. Feels like a bounce back game for Kim Mulkey after they lost in front of a record crowd at Auburn this weekend. Angel Reese second in the league in scoring and rebounding. She's given LSU 20 points and 11.5 boards a game. Anthony Robinson, freshman from Tallahassee at a University High School. And Estrada took a shot to the face on the rebound. And they're going to get Aiden Shaw with the inadvertent shot right to the kisser. It's a second on Shaw.
Coach Gates is not amused. He thought that was a touch foul, but the contact right in front of the official, hard for him not to call that one.
Estrada out of Woodbury, New Jersey. A couple of different homes in his college basketball background. And now Sears, who started at Ohio, puts up an air ball from 3 and then a whistle inside. Pardon me, went across the end line. Nate Oates is pleading his case, and he is hot under the collar. You couldn't find a better contrast in coaching emotions between these two.
Yeah, and going back to that shot, though, I don't know that Mark Sears takes that shot if he trusts that ankle a little bit better. There's plenty of time on the shot clock for him to be able to get to the basket or do one of his step backs.
Martine forgot the basketball, got on the floor for it, and ripping it away was Diabate.
Well, that's how you go after loose ball. Both teams giving great effort. Diabate wrestled that thing away.
It'll be Missouri basketball. It's the 6th time, according to our statistician to the Stars, Ken Dunlap, that Alabama's gotten on the floor for a loose ball. Hard hat program, blue collar. They track the dives and the charges taken. You could track charges this season on one hand.
Yeah,
it's a
big time rule change. Yeah,
I think we got a new model of hard hat right there in the middle. East back on the floor for Mizzou. This is the freshman Robinson. Trying to cross over Nelson. Can't shake the big foul. And the unicorn comes up with a blocked shot. And then he got teed up. Yeah. The officials this season are all over the sportsmanship part of things. That's a 3rd technical I've seen in the last 2 weeks for talking trash.
Just what I was going to say, you can't do it any better than that, Grant Nelson. Just gets in his own way. Lets the defender know, give me that stuff. Unfortunately, let the ref know too.
East to the free throw line for the technical for Missouri.
Is there a smoother free throw routine than East?
Take it around the world. How do you feel about the technicals we're seeing this season basically being sportsmanship technicals for talking trash?
Well, I kind of go back to the old school Dikembe Mutombo thing. If you wave it and you talk to the stands a little bit, but when you say it right in front of them, mouth it to him, and Robinson puts his arms up like, come on, ref. I mean, there's been a couple instances in this game where I think the Missouri players have showed great composure in situations. You saw Aiden Shaw on the Alabama sideline earlier when Nate Oates kind of pushed him away to his sideline. Dennis Gates really with no reaction there, and his players have stayed collected as well.
What a pass, and good touch by Nelson, even though he was away from the rim to finish. Alabama is one of the best press break teams in the country. Carter thought about the 3. A small but vocal crowd at Coleman Coliseum tonight. Shot clock at 3. East trapped in the corner. Can't draw iron. And Bama with a chance to push Nelson size advantage on Robinson. Sears for three. Got it! Alabama with another run. Timeout. Missouri was right there looking to reclaim the lead. As long as you're wearing a plaid jacket, you're happy in this one. And Bama.
He can't do it by himself. Sean East has quietly filled the stat sheet, 55 in black, but he's got to be able to get some penetration, get to that spot that he's so good at from two. Alabama has done a nice job keeping him out of the paint.
Tigers have had 3 different scoring droughts of 3 minutes or more tonight, including in this moment, and Carolero Martin with the travel. During those droughts, in a 6-point game, Missouri has been outscored by Bama 18-0.
When the momentum can shift at strange times, and even though Grant Nelson got the tech and Sean East converted at the free throw line, I think it woke this crowd up. I think it woke the team up, and it seems like Alabama's playing a little bit more aggressive here in the last few minutes.
Here's Nelson, great shovel pass, and it still goes even though Mizzou got a piece of it. Good finish by Diabate. He's got a couple. Missouri trailing by 8 now. 7-0 Bama run. Nelson with the kick. We got a good explanation from Joe Lindsay when we were at break, and he said, listen, we had offsetting fouls in the first half. We've given guys warnings. There will be no more warnings. And both sides were under full understanding of what that meant, except perhaps for Grant Nelson, who got teed up.
Going back to your question earlier, do I like the emphasis on calling the text for the sportsman? Sure. I mean, but do I like that the players are taking it personal and chirping? Absolutely.
Good cut by Bates, and he's got 13 now. The assist Carolero Martin.
Bates came into this game part of the 50-40-90 club, and he is 5 for 5 in this one as well. The guy just rarely misses.
Bates got tied up, and then we get another square up. And Bates wants to take the basketball with him. Timeout on the floor. Alabama with a 6-point lead. Nate Oates' team has made each of its last 3. They'll have the ball when we return.
Quick to remind people of that as well. Saying, I'm not sure guys like myself know what they're talking about.
Aiden Shaw with the rebound. Don't sell yourself short. You're a tremendous slouch. Here's East. There's a Missouri team. Been outscored in the second half by 4. Honors come up with some big shots for Missouri tonight. Martin shares it with Shaw, and he gets fouled. Diabate charged with his second of the evening.
Penetration, clean interior passing. That's what can allow you to get to the free throw line more often for Missouri. They didn't get to the line once in that first half.
So Aiden Shaw at the free throw line, just 2 for 6 on the season. My stats right? That is unbelievable for a guy his size. Sophomore from the Kansas City area out of Blue Valley High School. And he's got another one coming. 4-star recruit, was a 3rd-ranked player in the state of Kansas, and was the 2022 Dorena Award winner as the best athlete in the Kansas City metro area.
That athleticism is on full display on the defensive end, over 2 blocks per game.
Carolero Martin poked it a couple of times. Missouri couldn't grab it.
It's one thing to get to the free throw line, then you got to make them.
Sears leaves the 3 short. Sears tonight just 3 for 10 and 1 for 5 from deep. Playing with a bum ankle, twisted about 5 minutes left in the first half. At 6-7, Carolero Martin going to work. Well, pinball action. Shot clock's at 8. Here's East from the corner. The corner of the backboard.
For a left-hand player on the right corner, that is very rare for Sean East to be that off.
Top 10 in the country at 51% from deep. Griffin has it stripped. Alabama retains possession with 17 seconds left on the shot clock. Well, two of the top scorers in the league and two of the breakout players this season, East and Sears, having quiet evenings.
Well, that's what can happen when you are top priority on opponent scouting reports, and just a careless play there.
Bates with the interception. Nelson sneaking behind him, and he pinned it, but they'll count it. Goaltending.
Smooth play by Tamar Bates there, as Griffin wanted to be able to set up for the charge, and he just calmly sidesteps him, gets to the rim. Now 6 of 6 for Tamar Bates. Look at that's nice right there. A little Euro step. Good hustle by Nelson, just too late.
And then after Nelson took it off the backboard, kind of carried him over the end line. I thought there was an N1 on that one.
10 turnovers for Alabama, so not outrageous, not great, but it just seems like the timeliness of their turnovers have been really poor.
Sears steps through, and he draws a foul. The average less than 12 turnovers a game, so 10 3/4 of the way through the game is certainly on pace to finish above their number.
To clarify, never a good time to turn the ball over, but it just seems like when they started the game, when they closed out the first half, and then as you're trying to extend the lead some, you just keep giving this feisty Missouri team a little bit of life. And if you're at Alabama, make Missouri prove they can stop you in the half court without turning you over.
Well, Friday night at Heights coming your way with the triple header starting at 6 Eastern. Florida and the Plains to take on Auburn. Then Arkansas will be right here in Coleman Coliseum against Alabama. And we finish with Kentucky on the road at the PMAC against LSU. Bama will be in the bonus rest of the way. 6-point Alabama lead. Martin off the window.
Well, typically Alabama's been bringing that double from that baseline side, and that time Martin realizes no help came, got the angle.
Missouri trying to trap, they get the turnover. Caroleo Martin. Oh, went for the two-hand jam, but couldn't put it down. Missed opportunity for Mizzou. Bama the other way. And Alabama going to the free throw line. They got the turnover, but they couldn't get the flush.
And where Stevenson came from to help save this, I mean, look at 15's hustle there. That could have been an easy 2, and instead, the sense of urgency that Nate Oates has been wanting from Stevenson showed up right there to make it more difficult. And yeah, this could easily be a 4-point swing here if Griffin can connect on these free throws. Big time hustle play by Stevenson.
Griffin, the sophomore out of Richardson High School in Dallas. He was number 2 in ESPN's national high school rankings as a 2,000-point scorer coming out a couple of years ago. 81% from the free throw line. Bama won the game against Mississippi State at the free throw line. The Bulldogs missed each of their last 6. And in a close game, that was the difference.
Yeah, the Bama guards were 16 of 16. So I mean, that's why you're 3-0 in league play. And you figure out how to win games, not just with your fancy offense and threes and dunks, but at the charity stripe.
Honor playing with 3 fouls for Mizzou. Maybe pushed off Sears, and here's Carter going to work. Can't move Nelson, but spun him around.
You just have to keep staying down if you're Grant Nelson. Carter's so crafty down there. He will pivot and pump fake you until you bite.
And Sears, and Mizzou turnover ends up with East, and there's Robinson now. Missouri with the takeaway. Tigers are not getting any early shots as Dennis Gates wanted, but they've done a good job, especially early in the game, of using plenty of clock to slow down this Bama tempo. Carter couldn't find the rim from a foot. Bama's turned it over 12 times tonight. Trap of Sears. Honor had him tied up and ripped it away. It'll be a tie-up and will stay with Alabama. But the grad student from Dubuque, Iowa, Noah Carter, muscling it inside and showing some finesse.
Yeah, back-to-back 20-point games, trying to get to that category. This one, pump fake up, don't bite. Hates about it. He's pretty happy with the shot selection. They just got to find a way to get that ball in the basket and make sure the right guys are taking the right shots.
Tigers have closed within a one-possession score 6 times this half, but have been unable to reclaim it. Haven't led since it was 10-8. Griffin for 3. Huge bucket for Riley Griffin.
That is such a big three because Missouri's focus was deny the guards. They did not want Estrada touching it. They take him out of it, and you get beat by Griffin.
Honor, nowhere to go. Shot clock will get late for Mizzou, down to 10 and counting. East to Honor, shot clock now at 4. Honor shoved his way in, found the rim. Shaw will be fouled, and that is the 4th on Nelson. And that'll put Aiden Shaw at the free throw line. Alyssa, what do you got?
No secret, this game has been extremely physical, guys. Missouri defensively was making it really hard on Mark Sears tonight, sitting on the bench right now. But during that last time out, he came off the floor extremely emotional, very vocal, very fired up about it in the huddle. Teammates and coaches actually having to calm him down a little bit, pulling him aside. He just consistently was yelling at his teammates, I want to win this game. We'll see what he looks like when he comes back in.
Yeah, unable to make it to double figures just yet, leading the SEC with 20 points a game. That last foul, by the way, was on Reitzel, and it's his 3rd. Second one for Aiden Shaw. Rattles them both home.
It's big time for Shaw. I mean, this is a guy that steps up there with very little confidence, but makes 2 after bouncing back, or excuse me, after missing those first 2.
Wide open corner 3. Bottoms. Latrell Reitzel Jr.
A lot of risk associated with playing a zone against this Alabama team with so many shooters all around.
East with a burst to the baseline. And now Honor will reset. A bowling ball down the lane, and he'll get a trip to the free throw line on a foul from Estrada.
And Alabama just not really going to help off much. They'd rather stick to shooters, play one-on-one, and see if Honor can beat them to the basket. That time he was finally able to get an angle, whereas before he's been getting cut off right around that SEC logo.
2 coming for Honor, 81% on the season from the free throw line. Nick Honor's in double figures last time out in the loss to South Carolina, only managed 5 points. He's been around the game for a while. His dad, girls coach at Lake Highland in Florida, where Nick played in the Orlando area, won 6 state championships, was the national coach of the year. Nick started his college career at Fordham before headed to Clemson. And he went 1 of 2 from the line. Shaw gambled. Bama's got 5 on 4 in a minute. Griffin got it again, right over the top of the 7-5 Vanover. Dennis Gates needs a timeout. .30 points over the last 2 games for Rylan Griffin.
Well, his score's been up in SEC play, but he's only 4 of his last 17 from 3. But once he saw one go in a minute ago, it didn't matter if 7'5" was running out after him. He says, no problem, Noah Carter. Bring your 5-man out on me, 7'5". I'd normally say drive that. Rylan Griffin says, nuh-uh, I'm feeling it. Big time shots to extend this lead for Alabama.
Bama's made 6 of its last 8. You know, I was going through my notes preparing for Alabama for the first time this year. My biggest question was, how do you replace the 2nd pick in the draft, Brandon Miller? You can't replace everything that he brought to the table, but from a team standpoint, you plug in Rylan Griffin at that 3 spot. He's given you 13 points a game over the last 5. It feels like he's really growing into that role.
He is, and the more he can be consistent with that 3-ball, the better he's even going to be at the basket. I still want to call him like an explosive physical finisher, but man, is he effective. He's 30 of 44 from twos. That's 68%, good for 45th in the country. So this guy has definitely been an X factor for this Alabama offense.
In a big game against Mizzou last year, hit 3 of 6 from deep on his way to a 9-point game.
And the other thing he can do defensively is when they put Grant Nelson in at the 5, and now all of a sudden you got Nelson at the 5, Griffin at the 4. Man, is that hard to defend when you have that sort of speed at those positions.
Back and forth game. Missouri hasn't led since it was 8-5. Missouri hasn't made a field goal in nearly 2 minutes. Carolero Martin guarded by Nelson. Beautiful pass, and Bates will go back to the free throw line. The screen from Honor is what made that thing work. The foul charged to Pringle.
Really nice set play. Give it to Martin, and he's going to give the backdoor pass here. Nice job, and whew, that's a lot of ball right there.
So Bates at the free throw line, transferred in from Indiana. One of the best free throw shooters in the game, 21st in the nation at 92%. Originally committed to Texas to play for Shaka Smart, then ended up at Indiana, and now at Mizzou for a Kansas City product.
And that's the 14th trip to the line for Missouri, all coming in the second half. So they've managed to take some of the flow out of this game. They just got to find a way to get consecutive stops here.
Bates is fired up. Guard Reitzel. Nelson, quick baseline move. And Carolero Martin with the foul. It's his 4th.
Those are those quick drives, what Nate Oates calls go catches. Gone are the days where you and I were at basketball camp and they taught triple threat the entire time. He's trying to unteach that. When you catch that ball, rip it, make a decision in half a second. And Grant Nelson did right there, allowing him to get the foul and get to the strike.
That was a single threat. The only threatening thing I could do was get rid of the basketball.
Just looked like you could do 3 things.
So Nelson at the free throw line. North Dakota Mr. Basketball during his time at Devils Lake High School before going to North Dakota State. The previous nickname for Devils Lake High School was the Satans. They got some pushback and finally changed it after 80 years. And so Nelson's got 8 now. First team All-Summit League. Last year with North Dakota State. Carter. And now Honor. Carter for 3. Assist to Honor, who's been in on a couple of big plays last couple of minutes for Mizzou.
They gave Noah Carter just a quick breather there to have fresh legs to try to close this game out.
Sean East whistled for the foul.
Nick Honor's really played a solid game here as a 3-point shooter, this time as a distributor. As the 5-man sinks, they really don't talk well and switch that. Noah Carter makes them pay a big-time inside-out threat.
And we just got double technicals. Latrell Wrightsell and Sean East were going head-to-head. East had just picked up the personal foul. So we have offsetting technical fouls. Estrada will go to the free throw line for 2. Pardon me, was Noah Carter got whistled for the technical, not East, 35. And so Estrada at 86% going to the free throw line. It has been chippy tonight.
Yeah, and both these teams, they've got to defend without fouling. They might not agree with the whistle at times, but they got to move their feet, get some traditional stops, because every time Missouri tries to chip away at it on one end, they're either giving up a 3 or sending Alabama to the free throw line. Alabama on the flip side, you want to close this game out, get a couple of stops, let your transition game put Missouri away.
Honor penetrates to kick. Carter does the same. Nick Honor with the 3.
Wow, returns the favor, doesn't he? Honor set him up before, and then Carter does it with even deeper penetration for the kick out.
Bama's made 6 of its last 8. Estrada from the corner. Look at Nelson going to work on the glass. Missouri is grinding just to stay in this game, but one of the nation's best offenses is having its way at the other end. And now Honor draws the foul from Estrada.
Well, Missouri's been pretty good from 3 in this one, 8 for 18, and they've had many of them coming off of assisted passes there, and then here you are trying to get that stop to try to get on a run for Missouri. And one of their biggest weaknesses defensively is just collecting and finishing that possession on the defensive glass.
Honor's got 2 shots coming. 81% from the line on the season. But he's only 1 for 3 tonight.
We talked about this game really needing to stay in the 70s. I don't know that Missouri has enough firepower, as effective as they've been on offense. Over 40 from 3, over 50 from field goal. You just still feel like the higher scoring game favors Alabama.
Honor finds his stroke and knocked the second one down. Nelson rips it through, got cut off by Shaw. Now Estrada behind Nelson. Griffin's having a big game. Shot clock is down to 6. 3 ball. Got it! Ryland Griffin never panicked. That's his 3rd 3 of the game. Pardon me, 4th. 3rd this half. Double-digit lead for Bama. Bates lost the basketball. Griffin found it. Why not try it again? Griffin. What a hero tonight. Griffin's tied his career high with 19. Largest lead of the night for Bama. No shot, foul on the floor, and Ryland Griffin put on a cape. He's been a superhero tonight for Bama, and all smiles for this Bama team.
Well, there's still time left in this game, but Ryland Griffin trying to get the knockout blow in. Not 1 3, but 2 here in the last couple possessions. He says, Mark Sears, I know you're injured. Don't worry. Keep nursing that ankle.
Line. It's the only place he's come up short tonight. Double check the clock. Honor 81% on the season, but 2 for 4 tonight. Trent Pierce waiting to check in for Honor if he can make this one. And now he'll have to wait. 18 for Honor.
Missouri trying a very unique zone here. This looks like a 4-1. I mean, this is, here they go back to a 2-3, match it up a little bit. They just everything Alabama is doing offensively has bothered Missouri, and I don't blame Dennis Gates for trying something different with some zone despite all the shooters. But when man-to-man hasn't been effective for you, just throwing everything out there to try to confuse Alabama.
Jesus Carolero Martin picks up his 5th. Dennis Gates looking for an explanation. He'll be replaced. And Nate Oates is going to steal a minute, steal a timeout here.
Martin fouled out last game as well, and he's put back-to-back very productive games together for Missouri.
Dennis Gates has talked about his very calm courtside demeanor. We were having a discussion with him last night, one of the traits that he learned from Leonard Hamilton. But he looks tonight in his interaction with the officials, he's almost at the end of his rope. He was having a long conversation and wanted to use his full minute to get his sub in after the 5th personal on Martin. Meanwhile, Nelson knocks down the first free throw. Here's Nick Honor. Over Nelson. And Griffin skies for the rebound. .240 to play. Bama with its largest lead of the game. Estrada uses every bit of the rim.
They just spread you out so well, does Alabama, and creates these advantage-disadvantage situations. Nate Oates as good as anybody in the country.
Bates from 17.
I mean, offensively, you got to be pretty pleased if you're Missouri. To ask Nick Honor to come in and say, hey, I need you to put up 18. To ask Bates, hey, I need you to take 7 shots and make every single one of them. They've gotten some good things on the offensive end. They've just not been able to follow up a score with a stop.
And the one thing they're missing tonight, their leading scorer is Sean East, who gives them 17 a game. Only has 6 on 2 of 8 shooting. East, we were here for the shoot around last night. Then an optional player shoot around today. Sean East was not present at the shoot around last night. Inclination was that maybe he was a little bit under the weather and needed some rest. And Alabama going back to the free throw line. Trell Wrightsell Jr. will have a couple coming his way.
Yeah, Sean East, certainly one of the most improved players, if not the most improved player in the SEC. Not his best night offensively. This young man that's put in the work, been ready for his opportunity. I'd never see this. I mean, he was 22% from 3 last year, and now he's over 50%. You see guys improve, but to make that type of jump offensively speaks volumes to the work he's put in.
One more comment for Latrell Wrightsell Jr. out of Omaha Central High School. He was a teammate in high school with Missouri's John Tonje, who was announced today will miss the rest of the season due to a medical redshirt.
I know it beat it to death. I just can't remember the last time Missouri got a stop on this end. It's just been free throw bucket, free throw three, you name it. Alabama has taken this game over in the last 7-8 minutes on the offensive end.
Bama shooting 60% in the second half, including 7 of 12 from 3. And their points per possession is up to 1.36. That's a big number.
Safe to say they'll stay at 1 in the national offensive rating.
I think so. So Noah Carter at the free throw line. This is an Alabama team that is undefeated in league play, trying to go to 4-0 once again. And they got a big one on Saturday. They'll be at Tennessee at 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2.
How good will that be? I mean, Alabama, I know Nate Oates says they've got to get their defense better, and they better be locked in, because the way Dalton Connect is playing right now for Tennessee is just something Tennessee fans have not seen from an individual star probably since the Chris Lofton days. I mean, Dalton Connect, how good he's been on the road, and this time he does it in Thompson Bowling, Food City Center.
Yeah, get with it.
Thanks.
Bag your own groceries if you make that mistake again. He had 39 tonight. Touch pass from Pringle to Nelson. Out to Estrada. Needed a minute to gather. Man, Riley Griffin has been all over the place for Alabama tonight. Step through. It wasn't a Euro step. That was a Eurasia. He covered a lot of ground.
But such a great move, because he was tempted with the lob, but he saw the help coming and said, no, I better keep this one. And even when Missouri's been able to make Alabama miss, they have not been able to collect the defensive rebound.
Reitzel Jr. for three. Five of his 11 have come late in this game. In the last 4 minutes, to be precise, and a foul on Robinson.
You know, Tom, I don't know that it was the turning point in the game, but it sure picked up a notch after that Grant Nelson technical foul. Didn't you feel the energy in the building change a little bit?
Yeah.
And the team got a little bit more personal. They got more efficient on the offensive end, and it just felt like them starting to impose their will on this game took off after that Grant Nelson technical foul, which I'm sure he'll be thrilled to take all the credit for on the big Alabama run.
Well, Griffin's got a career high tonight. It could turn into a 20-point victory for Alabama, and a game that was a heck of a lot closer than that with 10 minutes to play. Strada's got a 20-point night. This will be career win number 200 for Nate Oates. 21 SEC Coach of the Year. 200 wins, not bad for a statistics teacher, Romulus, Michigan.
And you know, they're so balanced too. He's got this well-oiled machine offensively, and Mark Sears playing like an All-American. Turned that ankle, only 9 points in this one, still fought through and managed to play 25 minutes, but just goes to show how they don't rely on just one guy. And this is an Alabama team that everybody keeps talking about. Kentucky, Tennessee, Auburn, rightfully so, is the top tier in the SEC.
Well, hold on.
But I don't know how you don't include this.
Hold on. You keep saying everybody. You're one of them. You can change that narrative right here and right now.
Right now. Hey, they can change the narrative on Saturday.
That's right.
That's where they have the opportunity.
The 12th win of the season. They'll go to 4-0 in SEC play. Robinson trying to shake. Finally lost Diabate with a turnaround. Missouri had a lead in the first half. 6 times in the second half they closed with one possession and couldn't get the stop that they needed. And at the end of the night, this Alabama team, the #1 efficiency team in offense in the country, is going to end up scoring 1.4 points per possession. 5 in double figures. They shoot 61% in the second half, and they pull away for an 18-point victory.
The big key in the second half was them taking care of the basketball. Only 5 turnovers in the second half, allowing them to keep getting buckets and get to the free throw line. 15 of 15 from the stripe in the second half.
Great win for Alabama here tonight. For Alyssa Lang and Dane Bradshaw, I'm Tom Hart. Thank you for being with us. Let's get to the Fayetteville, Arkansas. Big one between A&M